All right, ladies, we are back for part B of the unknown
Part B.
identified episode. Yeah, part two. Part B, part two, part number B, where we are just sitting down and having a off the cuff
Thank you.
conversation with Erika Martin, who is I refer to her as a professional DM. She may not think of herself that way, but from all that she tells me and all that she does, I would categorize herself as such. She's not really like for a hire. Like I don't think you don't do like a you start playing kind of thing where people just say, "Hey, can you come to my house and DM for me? We'll give you $100." You don't do quite something like that.
No,
No.
I've auctioned games at fundraisers. So like I'll put up like a whoever silent auctions the most, I'll run a game for you.
Oh,
So I've
that's
done it
nice.
for fundraisers. I do a lot of my own events. So like in November, I'm doing a fundraiser for balls, forever homes for rescue pets, where
Mm.
we're going to do live play D&D. We're just going to play on stage at a local tavern and people can donate to come and watch. And we've got
Ooh.
a cast of really entertaining players. And I've never done this before. I've never done live play before. And I'm going to DM in front of an audience.
Yeah, but
Should be
every
interesting.
time you DM, it's live play though.
It's
Theoretically,
true.
You
It's
know, it
true.
there
is.
isn't
It's
just
You
an
know,
audience
it's just
watching.
that
100%.
you're gonna have people watching you versus people participating with you. You know.
You're going to be mic'd
Um,
up.
Yeah, yeah.
but the only thing the only thing I'm gonna challenge you on is you said did you say a cast?
Yes.
Yeah, my players are all
Casted
going to be on stage, and
Oh,
they've been chosen specifically
for
because
their
they are
comedy.
whether they're very good at comedy, whether they're particularly rules
Improv.
knowledgeable and
Oh,
tend
yes.
to, there's a lot of archetypes you want in a live play table. You do want the player who is kind of like the DM's assistant, and they're going to help kind of rally everybody back if the chaos goblins go a
Stay
little
on.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
A
need to
chaos
have kind of a
goblin.
you need a chaos goblin 100%. That's actually one of the listed items. So you have to have this curated list of players in order to sort of ensure your show is going to be entertaining enough to be watched by people who are paying to watch it.
right, right, right.
Um, so it's nerve wracking,
Yeah,
but when you
yeah.
start playing with a lot of people, you start finding those archetypes naturally. And
And
you
you're like, they're
build like,
great. Come with me.
you're a crazy player. You just ruined everything. What are you doing next Friday?
All right, but you don't have a like a script or any way, or haven't pre-discussed with these players as to, hey, is it okay if you do
No,
this? Make sure you do this.
no.
No,
They get
okay.
their
No.
how to create their characters. They're going to create their own characters and everything. They're given like a specific list of guidelines.
So
They're going to have some surprises they aren't
I was
expecting.
watching. So this sounds more
Oh,
okay.
so it's a balanced party, too. Because you don't want an unbalanced party.
If you're
Right.
doing it for a
Right.
show, yeah, like I agree.
Right. You don't
So,
want
Hmm.
them
all
to
right, so
get
this sounds
TPK'd.
less
Sorry,
like
show's over.
Critical Role. Thank you, because you know all how I feel about Critical Role. How they are not. Anyway, I'm just gonna say I'm not a huge fan. I'll leave it at that and be nice.
There's
Um,
lots
but
of ways to play
but
the game.
it sounds more like what I started watching recently. The Dungeon Dudes YouTube channel, if you're
Hmm.
not familiar with them, they did something what you're describing. They had a handful of people up on stage, and they were running the Drakkenheim, whatever the full name of the Drakkenheim is, I don't know. And they had the two Dungeon Dude guides. They had the guy from D&D Shorts. They had Deborah Ann Wall, and two other people I
Hmm.
weren't familiar with. And they had their characters. It's very light, more on the comical side, a little bit of a modern twist, kind of thrown in there. So it wasn't like in the traditional D&D medieval setting type
Oh
thing,
yeah,
you know.
mine's not in
Um,
the medieval
but
setting. It's
it
completely
was
modern.
clearly not scripted or anything uh, big set or anything like this baloney like Critical Role does.
What this reminds me of is also the early days of D&D podcasts, and one of the first early days D&D podcasters were my brother, and me. And they did. Well, I mean, that's their name. It's a guy, his two brothers, and his dad, and they play D&D together. And it's the
Nice.
very first podcast is like really old. It's in like early 20. I think it's like 2010 or 2011, but they did like live shows, and they would you could go on Apple podcasts, and you could listen to it, and they did live shows, and the live shows were fun and entertaining, and I wasn't there at the live show, but you could hear the audience enjoying it as well.
And
And
there's going to be participation that I've planned.
correct.
The audience, it's a fundraiser. So there's not going to be
What do you
any
guys
health
want them to
potions
do?
in the game.
Ah!
Health potions. So they're going to buy, like, for $5, an audience member could buy one of the players a health potion to help them out or whatever. So they have to, like, encourage the audience. So I'll just let all y'all know. So it is modern. It's a like
Spoilers.
WWE, like a wrestling arena. So each of these
WrestleMania.
players, yeah. So it's gonna be like a rumble. Like all of the players are going to have these
Yes.
wrestling personalities that they kind of come up with on their own. They're going to have like an entrance song,
Yeah.
and at the end, there's going to be PvP, and they're going to have like the last man
Da,
standing, woman
da, da,
standing,
da, da.
last one standing, and then yeah, the audience can
Highlander.
help them out or not, right? They can do little
WrestleMania.
things.
And what is
It'll
this a
be fun.
fundraiser for?
The
Furball
amazing.
Forever Homes. So
Yes.
the organization specifically is if we're raising funds specifically for this organization to pay for veterinary care for rescue pets. So animals that aren't in homes that otherwise don't have anyone to pay for their veterinary care or to get them the veterinary care they need so that they can get adopted. That's
Yeah, it's
specifically
nice.
what this organization does.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
There
there's
was
lots
a
of things you could
local
do with
one.
D&D.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there is. There was a local one for one of our local like come out and plays. Goblins and Growlers, Goblins and Ghouls. Goblins and Growlers did a fundraiser. I think it went to schools. I think it went to a kids thing,
That's what when my
but they
last
hosted
fundraiser
one. Yeah, it went
was for
to. I
that.
think it went to some kind of children's thing. And I couldn't go. Sadly, it was during the week. But I think they just had like a come out and play, and they had just like a gajillion like DMs and little tables, and just come out and play D&D was what
Yeah,
it really was.
Julie, have you ever been to one of their events?
I haven't no, but I
Okay.
have a couple players who do,
I'm just
like
wondering
religiously.
if it's very well structured like the Adventurers League is.
I have no idea. I know that they have. I think it's a bunch of different players and DMs all playing the same little one shot, and they all have the same little minis and the same little map, and they run all the same
Okay,
one
so
shot.
they are running the same one shot. Okay, 'cause that's what I was wondering. If it's just a
I'm
whole
pretty
bunch of
sure.
DMs that come together and they all kind of do their own thing, or is there actual structure to it?
I think they
To
all
the
just run the
organization.
same one shot.
Okay.
And so you
I mean,
go to they go to a brewery, and you can go and hang out at the brewery. You can choose to buy stuff from the brewery if you want to, but you don't have
now there's
to.
a hard word to say.
Brewery.
Brewery.
Um, brewery. And you hang out and play D&D at this brewery. I think it's every third Thursday or something like that.
Okay,
Like
I know
something,
once or twice they've done it at Unplugged Cafe or whatever down in Midlothian, the gaming cafe
yeah,
there.
instead,
Yeah,
maybe a gaming cafe instead of a
yeah.
brewery. Um,
There's a place
but
like
I know
that
they've done it.
locally for us too. Tavern Tales
Oh,
runs evening events.
so
Like learn how to play and play.
okay,
Yeah,
so all
right.
right, so I gotta start writing down my ideas or thoughts before I forget them. All right, so Erica, you hang out at some local game shop and you just hang out there and
On
do
Wednesday night.
yeah. What is
That's
that?
where my home game is. So at Bards and Cards, that's like the San Diego downtown shop. I love that place. The owners are fabulous. The manager of the store, Danny, she's my DM for 5e 2014 campaign that's been going for, obviously before the 2024s came out. So we're still running it in the rules that we started it in. And they do all sorts of tabletop events and
Shenanigans.
yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did want to make sure I ask about, especially since most of the D&D work I do is volunteer stuff, you had a call recently where you talked about DMs getting paid, right?
Correct.
We had a debate.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So
It was. I don't know if you watched it, but it truly was a debate. I said, Julie, 3 minutes. Pick your side. She was arguing that DM
yeah,
should not get paid. I said, all right, here's the time. We got 3 minutes. Argue your point, and we went back and forth, back and forth.
I should have done it the other way around. I should have made Keith suffer.
uh,
I gave him
I
I
know,
gave him
right?
his passion topic. I gave him the yes, please pay me, and not the no, please don't pay me. So I took no, please don't pay me because I knew Keith was more passionate about yes, please pay me. And I very definitely lost because I just kind of push Keith in the
It's a
correct
huge
direction.
topic.
It,
It's
it,
a
it is
really
a
big
hot
topic
topic.
right
Yes, it
now.
is. Yes,
There's a
and
lot
and for
of
the record,
people.
I don't get paid. I run 2
I don't
online
get
games
paid.
and an in-person game. I don't get paid. No one pays me. I've never asked anyone to pay me.
Mine
So
depends.
just for the record, I don't get paid. Although
Our game
I can make a strong argument that
store,
DMs should get paid. I can make an
the
argument
DMs
that they
Certainly.
shouldn't be, but
the card store that we play at, the DMs, if you DM there long enough, you don't have to pay to rent the little space.
Mhm.
It's just $5. So theoretically,
Oh,
Keith and I
that's not
get a
okay.
$5 discount, but
It's a $5 discount. That's what that is.
yeah.
They're the games that I do see compensation in do tend to be much like higher expectations out of the experience.
Yes.
November 1st, I think it is. I'm DMing in a game that does have compensation, but it is an eat your way through experience. So the person who's organizing this
oh,
event
there's
has
food.
had chocolates made, like specialty chocolates, like truffles in the shape of like bad guys. Like you will be
Eat the
eating your
monsters.
entire way through this experience, and because it is so expensive, and everyone gets like these custom dice that are chocolate, like because there's so much that goes into it, they obviously charge for the
That's
experience,
different. But there's like
and then
some
they
schmuck on
pay.
Facebook.
Yeah. So there are things that people expect from a paid game,
Agreed.
is what I
Oh,
mean by
Right.
it's
that.
a completely
You
different
know,
dynamic and expectation. I agree.
yes, if I am going to a game store, I fully expect to either have to spend money at that game store or throw a couple bucks at the store for table rental because there's overhead.
Right.
Supporting the store.
Yep.
That's just part of, yeah, that's part of the community. That's part of tabletop.
Hmm.
If the DM is running the game at their home, that's their overhead, right? That's their cost. That's their time. I think it makes sense to throw them a couple of bucks, whatever it is, pay for dinner, beer, whatever. If it's a friend's game.
Compensation and food. I brought that up. Keith didn't agree with me.
Well, no.
However,
Wait a minute. No, and
that's
listen.
friends.
So here's
That's
my.
friends and community.
That's right. So it's different. It's further
Friends and
because
community.
one of the questions that was raised on this topic, and Erica, we need to come back around to your topic of how to describe the chest. I'm not forgetting that. Okay.
Oh, good, good.
Okay. Okay. So since we're on this topic here, okay, if you are
Throw
playing
Keith
amongst
under the bus.
family, right? I'm not going to pay my brother to DM the game for me. Like
Friends and community
it's
is
just
what
not
she
going to
said. She
happen,
said
right? And
community.
if I am truly amongst friends, like we've been friends for 20 years, and hey, let's play D&D. No, I'm not going to. I would turn your money away. Like I would be offended if you tried to pay me at that point, right? But if we are strangers who have come together,
Mhm.
Tuesday night, Sunday night, Friday night, we've come together. Okay, and over time we develop a bond and a friendship. That's still different, right? Because it depends how you define friends. I'm old enough to know the difference between a friend and acquaintance and so on. Anyway, um, so that's different.
Everybody's my
Now,
friend.
if I find a game store or I hop online at some of these websites because I have no friends or I can't find a local game for where I am, and that's the only way I can play, then I don't think it's unreasonable to pay a small fee. Now, paying me in food is not paying me. If you bring snacks to the game table, that's snacks to the community game table that's there. That's not for me exclusively, right? That's not for me. That's for
Right,
everyone. And those snacks, not even a meal, those snacks on the table do not help me pay my rent or my electric bill. So if I'm
right.
No.
if I'm DMing for the money, right? That's why I'm doing this
Mhm.
for you guys. I'm running this game
Right.
for $5, $10, $30 a person, whatever it is. Bringing me food instead does not do that. Imagine going to the doctor and say, "Hey, doc, man, I'm really tight, but I got your Subway sandwich. Is that all right?" It doesn't work like that. It's not the way life
We
works.
we brought up like going to the movies, and that even if the movie was shitty, you still had to pay for the movie.
Oh, that's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot of these online paid DMs will often not all, but often have like the first session free just to kind of get a feel for it, see if you're gonna like it. And I agree with that concept. But staying with the
That's a
movie
good idea.
idea, so yeah, you go to a movie, it's sucky. So I wasted my $15. You know, you roll the dice. You don't know if you're gonna enjoy the movie or not. It can get rave reviews and you still not like it. I can go out and
Yeah.
buy dinner, and wow, it sounds really good in the menu, and I like that meal, but this one was not good. Or maybe I go to Adventures and try something I've never had before, and I don't
Not
like
to
it.
your
You
taste,
know,
and it's
so
cooked well, and it's
that
not
may
to
not
your
be on the
taste.
restaurant. Maybe they prepared it
Yeah,
perfectly, and it's just
yeah.
my taste buds don't agree. That's not the restaurant's fault. Okay, now in terms of money, if you go to the movies, how much does it cost to go to the movies, Erica? $20, give or
25
take.
bucks? Yeah.
15,
25,
$20 for a ticket. Okay,
something,
and you get 90 minutes of entertainment for $20.
Hmm.
sometimes more. New
So,
movies are like 3 hours
well,
long.
2 hours. I mean, years ago they used to be 2 hours, and they scaled them back. Sizeflation or whatever they call it. They scale it back to 90 minutes, and I get less value for my money. Anyway, different soapbox, Julie. So I pay 15, $20. I get 90 minutes of entertainment,
Cheaper.
passive entertainment. Okay. If I go to a sporting event, college level, we're not talking professional. That's no comparison in terms of money,
Hundreds
right?
of dollars.
So
Yeah.
I might pay $50 for a 3 hour football game at some of these not Big Ten schools.
Professional. Yeah.
And so, from a value perspective, if I pay $50 for a 3 hour game, that's roughly $15 an hour. Real quick math, okay? If I go to the movies, paying $20 for 2 hours, that's $10 an hour. So if a DM is running a game session and it
For
runs
four
3, 4,
hours.
5 hours, paying that person 20 or $30 really is not unreasonable. I really don't
No,
think it
no, especially
is.
when you have tables worth of people playing that, right?
So,
Because the DMs are really not even compensated for their prep or their
correct,
cleanup, right? It's
correct.
only the
In
on-site
essence,
time, which is where
the final product, right?
the DMs that obviously do this a lot and have a repertoire and have their equipment, that becomes more and more affordable the more they do, because the prep time goes down
Hmm.
based on their experience. Um, but that's not the case for everybody. Um, and it isn't part of what the player sees. So it's hard. It's almost like that's the reason people feel like they have to add all of these extra things to their games, like chocolates and crazy terrain and all these experiences,
Free
so that
dice.
they can actually ask for money in exchange for the things that they're going to do. Um, what I've been seeing a lot when it comes to specifically 5e D&D is the DMs, they're not game masters anymore. These are performers now. These are people who have
Story, story,
memorized
story.
lines, they have characters, they have
Theatrical. Yeah.
voices. It
Voice
is
changers.
they
Special
are
effects.
performers, they have special effects, they have lighting, they have sound, and
Fog.
these are the sort of things that I feel like I have to practice because I'm going into these public spaces. And these people are paying, especially the crews, goodness, they're going to be spending thousands of dollars on this cruise, and you don't want to show up with nothing. You want to
Yeah,
make sure
pleb.
these people walk away feeling like they got their money's
Okay,
worth.
so
Um,
okay, hang on. Keep talking. I'll take notes. Go ahead.
so so
Angry
what does
notes.
that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that they have to walk away with tangible items? Does that mean that you have to have your story dialed in well enough that you can tell it as a good storyteller, like a performer who's practiced, versus someone who walks on stage cold, right? That's not the same sort of preparation that an audience
Unless you're
would
an
expect,
improv master.
right? Oh my gosh.
Unless you're really good at improv, which
And
I have
even then,
pulled
you
out of
can't
my
do that
butt.
with Adventure League or Greyhawk, which has
Oh, because it
very
has to be set.
defined games, right? Sets and
Yeah.
NPCs that already exist in the worlds that maybe one of your players played part one of in San Diego Comic Con, and now they're on the cruise and they're noticing that you're running part two. You absolutely have to have that sort of consistency in those style of games, and you have to know that module. You
Play
have to
that
know it
NPC
really well.
correctly. Yeah.
You
That's
do.
a lot of
And
pressure.
and in those instances, the DMs are compensated not by money; they're given access to the cruise, right? They're being
We
brought
got a
on the
free
cruise,
cruise.
Right.
and they're treated like talent. They're picked up, they're dropped off at the venue. Their food is covered, um, and I think like their hotels and stuff like that are covered too. Um, but they're not paid otherwise.
So yeah,
Uh,
I call that indirect compensation
mhm.
because you're not getting a
It's not
paycheck
going to pay
to
my
be
rent
direct. Right.
or keep the lights on,
Right.
but I'm also
You got a free
competing
cruise.
with other DMs for this position.
Yeah.
So that it's a DM position that people are willing to go unpaid to do. And so you
For
have
the
to,
bennies.
yeah.
That's like
So
being
there's
a government worker. You don't get paid well, but you get all these crazy bennies. And so there are people vying for all these government jobs because of all the crazy benefits.
All right,
yeah.
so here's a couple of my thoughts on that
Angry
because
soapbox.
no, but no, you know, Erica said, you know, people are paying a lot of money for this cruise, and they are, right? But my question is, so you said, oh, they're paying a lot of money for this cruise, so that for you creates a certain level of burden that you need to perform at that level, right?
And
So,
I would expect the other DMs to do the same. There
but
are
my
other
question to
people
you
who are
is,
willing to take
how
that
much
spot.
more are they paying for this role-playing cruise
Then
versus
a carnival cruise.
the non-role playing cruise. Because if it's the same
Oh, I don't know.
price, right? If it's the same price, then they're really not
I have
paying
no
extra.
idea.
So therefore, you shouldn't feel that burden based upon the cost of the cruise. If they inflated the
Hmm.
price and they're collecting more money from their customers, this organization that we're talking about, then yeah, at that point,
Oh God,
yeah. And I'm sure
actually
I
no.
can only imagine that they are, but they may not because they may say to the cruise line, hey, we're going to buy 1,000 rooms, whatever number, 500 rooms. So therefore, you know, sell them at a discounted price, or you know, sell them to us for a discounted price essentially, and that's where they're kind of making their money to then offset the
Hmm,
cost of your cruise, okay, and not
interesting. Yeah.
without a direct compensation. Um, so in a sense, they're making money off of it, but in a sense, you're already getting paid by those who are paying for the cruise, right? You're not getting paid directly. You're getting paid indirectly with a free cruise. Fantastic. I'll take it. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody's paying for that, right?
No.
So all those others who are paying for the cruise are doing so either directly by an inflated price or they're paying the regular price that everyone else who's going on that cruise is, but it's just that this group got a discounted rate, and that discounted rate difference is what pays for you and the other DMs. So that's what I have to say to the
Hmm.
money aspect. Now, as for the performing aspect, I understand what you're saying, and this is a trend that we've seen. Thank you, Critical Role, for screwing it for everyone. That we need to perform in the
It's
true
more than
sense.
just
We need
them.
We have to have voices, and we need to have this tool and
If
that tool
if
and
I'm asking
terrain
for
and all this
money,
stuff. Well,
Yeah.
if I'm asking for money,
but in a sense, you're being compensated
because I consider
indirectly,
myself
right?
entertainment at
You're
that
being
point.
compensated indirectly, and justified or not, you feel that burden on you to perform, right? So
I do.
my question is,
Burden or opportunity
well,
to perform.
should you? And I'm not saying that Erica, you should take a stand on this, but as a D
No,
and
I
D
love
community,
it.
as a community of DMs, should we be stepping up our game to perform and take away from really what the game is, which is not a performance? It's a collaborative game that has role playing or social role play, exploration role play, and combat role play, and not put all that on the DM to perform, especially if the players aren't going to perform, or do the other DMs need to freaking take a step back and reel themselves back into reality and say that that is not how to play D&D?
I'm not Critical Role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
The
personally,
there's
expectation.
as you ladies probably
Mm,
know where I stand on that, and that is that you guys need to reel it back in, you know, because you're not. That's not what D&D is.
mhm.
I'm
So
an
one of
old
my
school
favorite
purist in that
things,
sense.
and that's the wonderful thing about D&D. There are so many different ways to play it.
yeah.
When we do the women's group monthly, the DMs that volunteer for this span the gamut. We've got the beautiful storytellers who show up with just a grid and that's it. That's what they work with. And then we have me who takes 5 car trips to get all my stuff into the group. But it's all the
I'm
same organization. And the way the organization works is every month they post who's volunteering, what DMs are volunteering, and what game they're running. And people can choose what games they want to play.
and
And
what DM they want to
every,
favor.
exactly,
Hmm.
there are players who love playing all of these styles. There's room for all of it, which is insane. It's only getting bigger. I think in the sense where if a player is expecting entertainment out of this session. They're paying for the entertainment aspect. I want that person to use voices. I want to sit there and be like, oh, this is like theater. This is like sitting and doing interactive theater. I plan on role playing. I want to see them role play. We're going to be doing a story together. That's my brain. That's how I go into it. That's not how I go into Sunday's games at 1E. Not at all. That's not how I'm mentally prepared to play in that game because you know what you're getting yourself.
Well, I
Like
was about to say, you knew
know
what
the
you
game.
signed up for.
Well, right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you know the vibe of the game and the way it's being played and how the other players are enjoying it. You read the room. It's a group thing.
but whether the DM does voices or not, or has terrain or not, does not determine, for me, would not decide whether I would pay that
Pay
person or
scale?
not, or how much I would pay them for not. It's about the
It would
entertainment
be how much
value,
I would enjoy it.
not the
Yeah.
performance
If I
value,
enjoyed them.
how much I enjoy it, right? Because
Mhm.
if that is the only way or the only justification someone has to pay a DM, then you are leaving so much, you are shutting yourself out from so many other styles of play and level of play. Because you can have a phenomenal DM who's theater of the mind and uses nothing but pen and paper.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
professional
not
DMs.
even a
Phenomenal.
DM screen.
Right.
Not even a DM screen. You're just sitting
So
around a
I don't
table.
use
so
I
people
don't use the DM screen.
see. I think this is why
Right.
it bothers
Raw.
me is that
I
people,
like being with
again,
my
thank you,
players.
Critical Role. People have come to believe that this is what D&D is because that's all that they see. Right? They see the performance, truly performance, voice actors. They have a cast of actors
Yeah.
on Critical Role. Okay, a little less so on Dimension 20.
They're still actors, though.
Well, that's
They're
what
not
I'm saying. A
actors.
little less
Or
so,
professional comedians. They're
right?
professional entertainers.
So
They're
They
professional
are.
entertainers to
Yeah.
begin with.
that's not how the
They were on a
the
game
average
show.
group plays D&D, right?
No.
Right.
Whether you have a professional DM or not, you know,
There are.
because the
There
players are not
are.
professionals. The professional DM
No.
I find at my local game store or online on Start Playing or whatever it's called. But the players who I'm going to play with probably are the average Joe who's maybe mediocre at best because we've had
Yeah.
such an influx in the past 4, 5, 6 years of people trying to get into D&D, role playing games in general, but D&D specifically,
Mhm.
and they don't know their ass from their elbow. And I'm not saying that
No.
like in a
No,
bad
true.
way, but they just not there. So, but like you said, if I'm going to pay 20 or $30 or whatever, I expect that DM to do pretty well in my style of play. I need to find the right DM, whether I'm paying him or not. And it doesn't mean he has minis and all this stuff. Just he has to be a good DM at what he's doing, running the game and keeping the group together, keeping the story together, and we have a good time. But just the same, I want to make sure I'm playing with good players who know how to friggin'
Mhm.
play. If
I don't feel that way. If
Question.
they're new, they're new. It's okay.
No, and
The
right, it's okay to be new, but you know what? There's a difference between playing single A baseball, double A, triple A, and the majors. If I'm in the majors, I don't want to be playing with the guys who are playing in double A. You're gonna hold me back, right? So it's okay to be new. We were all new at some point, right? At some point,
That's true.
I didn't know how to do this job that I'm doing,
I
whatever
guess
it
if you're
is.
paying for a high-leveled game, if you're paying for, let's say you pay a DM that you know, and he's a fucking min-maxer all the way 24/7, and you're playing this hardcore campaign, you're playing Dragon Carta's Curse of Strahd, and and they're going ham, do it, and there's so many combat encounters, and there's no social roleplay, and everyone's mean and grimdark. If you paid for that experience, yeah, everyone. You're what's the
I love
restaurant?
paying people to be mean to me.
So
Right,
It's just
but there's a restaurant where they're mean to you, and if
Yeah,
that's your
there's a
expectation, and then
handful,
you
yeah.
pay, and then you go in, and then you're like, "Hi guys,
there's
hi."
restaurants.
so there,
And it was like,
but like if I was paying to play in a 1E game, right? I would not want the DM who says, "Oh yeah, beginner friendly." Like I'm
Well,
too.
no, that would be what you would.
Well, right.
you
That's
would
what I'm
enjoy
saying.
the game,
Not for me.
right?
Now, if I'm going to go into a 5e game, yeah, man, I would rather have someone say I'm beginner friendly because I still know how to role play and I know the general mechanics of how to play this game, but I don't know the intricacies of 5e. With the characters and all these mechanics and stuff, so
Yes.
at that point I would want that. But if I'm doing a 1e game or even 2e, no, I don't want beginner friendly because like I'm past that.
That's another
So I'm not
feature,
at
too.
single A, right? I'm at triple A.
The
So
other
again,
feature that a DM could offer is teaching. That's another element that they bring to the table that isn't necessarily terrain, it's not voices, but you're going to be teaching players how to play this
Playing
game.
a game.
so Julie
Yeah.
has brought that up.
A intricate game.
Julie,
A very interesting.
tell her what you've been talking to me about at the game store.
What?
D&D babies or something.
My
Because that's what
local
she
game
just
store,
said.
they got a new DM. They got a new front end manager, and the new front end manager is a friend. I've known him for like a couple years, and he said, "Hey, talk to your other DM friends, and let's see about once a month we do a thing where everybody who wants to learn how to play D&D can come in and learn how to play D&D, and it will be a
We
whole
do
night.
that
Will
at a tavern.
entire store will be well the entire store will be for D&D for that one night."
Mhm.
And I said, maybe we could do like raffle to try and bring people in. And he goes, yeah, sure, we could do raffle. And so there'd
Raffles
be like a
are things that bring the players back. So more tools like
D&D
books,
stuff.
right?
Yes.
D&D
Or
stuff that they're excited to use again.
I have a 3D printer, so like a dice tower or
Yeah.
a player's a tracker box, like
Yeah.
a
Some dice.
player's companion.
Everyone's a dice
Yeah.
goblin,
Yep.
you know,
And so I was like,
for
literally any of that.
the hits that they get for free, right? In the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Um,
makes you
and
so addicted to the game.
And so once a month, however many DMs who want to come and DM, and we all DM this one really easy one shot in whatever. And I asked Keith if he wanted to as well for first edition, so he could teach
Oh,
first
cool.
edition, and then I
I
could
know
teach
there are more and more people
fifth
getting interested in
edition.
that too.
Right, and maybe there's someone doing 2014 fifth edition, and maybe there's someone doing,
Mhm.
2024 fifth edition instead. But it would be an opportunity for people to come in, learn how to play, and then maybe also come back.
So the West Coast Adventure League, the way they do that at the conventions are 30-minute sessions.
Holy crap.
That
Oh,
they
that's just teaching though. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
a
called
little.
Learn to Play.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it because I just do the one shots. I do Adventure League. They
I
do
don't know
run
if we
Learn to
would
Play.
be compensated to do it. I'd have to ask. I would get compensated because I would print the raffle prizes.
Well,
So I would
you
get
could
the
also
raffle
charge for
compensation.
the Learn to Play. We have our local game store, Bards and Cards, does these series called World Building or Learning to DM. It has like world building. It's one session's world building, one session is how to create your monsters, and then there's
Oh,
a third one,
encounters.
and they charge. Yeah, it could be encounters. So it's three of them. It's $10 a piece to drop by the game store, and she'll hang out with you
World
and do it.
building, encounters, and the other one I would say would be like NPCs and roleplay.
Yeah,
Because
but
that's all three
they charge
pillars.
for that,
Boom, boom, boom.
and
Well,
they
listen.
sell out.
So 10 or 20
Learn how to
bucks for
DM.
that little session or tutoring session with another DM or something, right? Who maybe has more
Mhm.
experience or more knowledge in this aspect of the game than I. All for it. Fine. I came across a while back. I know I shared it with Julie. I'm not sure if I shared it with you, Erica. I don't remember what it's called. DM University or something. They want thousands of
Oh,
dollars to teach you how to be a DM.
but it's like a
Oh,
YouTube personality.
I was like, oh my god,
oh,
hell
okay.
no.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, someone's going to be a big enough fan to be like, yes, I want to learn how to do it
No,
that way.
I
I want
get
to
it.
learn it
Okay,
from them.
again,
But if
t-
you are like any DM I've ever met, you learn by doing. You have
Yes.
no idea what you're doing the
No.
first time. You have no
Never.
clue. You're
Nope.
scared. You're making it
Nope.
up as you go. You hope they want to play again. And that's how we all learned, right?
right.
I forgot to add
Okay,
ability modifiers, and I
but
TPK'd my for level 1 party
but
on Gobos.
I can't, and I recognize
Forgot my staff loss.
this is not apples to apples. I recognize that, okay? But like I
They're
can't
very
imagine
dexterous.
taking a class on tactics and strategies for how to win at Monopoly.
Well, it's because no one
Yeah,
cares about Monopoly.
No, that's not my
That is
that's
just an
not my
example.
point. My point, I'm agreeing with you though, Erica.
Okay.
No, you learn how to play by playing. You read the rules a little, you know.
And the Monopoly
In
instruction
Monopoly,
book is this
right? But
big.
in Monopoly, I'd
The
read the
D&D
whole rule, the
instruction book.
entire rules, right? In D&D, I might read some of the rules. I might watch a video or two,
Make up the rest.
and then you just you try it and you see what happens. But I can't. I can't see paying thousands
And
of
if
dollars
people
for
leave
that.
your table crying, you modify and
I
try
ran a
again.
bunch of one shots to learn because one shots aren't as permanent as a campaign.
Nope. And you get
Yeah,
feedback quickly.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Hmm
And if you like the campaign or not, very quickly. But the cool part
This
about one shots is that you can also expand on a one shot. So let's
you
say
can.
you really like the universe the one shot takes place in, you can then expand that one shot into a longer campaign.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. You can
I
even
really
get
want to do
creative and
that.
find ways to tie them together,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
If they're
Um,
blasé enough, if they're open
uh,
enough.
what's the book? I always forget it. Candlekeep.
Oh,
Candlekeep is my
Candlekeep.
book.
Oh, Endless Staircase is the newest one.
Yeah.
Tales of the Endless Staircase. Tales of the
hmm
Yawning Portal. Candlekeep Mysteries. All three of those are just a bunch of boom, 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 boom.
Yep. Exactly. And you can,
Enjoy.
yeah, that might be a
Um,
fun thing to do. To have a
Yawning
series of
Portal,
one shots. Oh,
all tied together.
sorry. Just thinking.
Yawning Portal takes place in a famous tavern. That
Yes, it
famous
does.
tavern, I'm pretty sure, is just on the Sword Coast somewhere. And you
Yeah.
could probably pick that tavern up and place it anywhere else you would want to, because it all takes
hmm
place originally in a walk in the tavern. Talk to some crazy motherfucker, and he teleports you to a different dimension.
he
So
does.
why
It's awesome.
why couldn't you do that with anything? The five no like the 5e we just talked about this an hour ago. The 5e modules are like this,
So,
right? 2, 3, 400 pages,
Yeah.
ridiculous. Okay, and
Uh-huh.
I think that
ooh, there's. Oh no, it's just paint. I was like, ooh, there's
people who
even a ribbon.
DM fifth edition, it's not the people, but if all you've been exposed to is fifth edition for DMing, then of course that's all that you know, right? But I think because they're so well defined, these modules, right? We've said this earlier. The entire everything you could
Yeah.
possibly need is there, right? That DMs don't feel as though they can deviate from that at all, and they don't feel as though
Oh,
they can take this in this module and just pop it over there because everything's laid out there. Just like when I try to tell character players that just because it's not on your character sheet, it doesn't mean you can't do it or try it. It's not as though
Right.
you are
I know.
Yeah.
restricted to only doing what's on your sheet. That's just your specialty, right? But you can try anything else. But I think that a lot of 5e DMs feel as though that this is all I can do because it's in the book and I have to do what's in the book. And
My
and
cursive
and
strahd
because
is modded
because WotC has stolen their agency as the DM.
agency. Yeah. No, I run a completely modded cursive strahd. I don't run raw cursive strahd. I run Mindy's
The
mod.
only campaign I've ever run was Witchlight,
Oh,
and
I
I did
love
not
Witchlight.
stay to that. I've homebrewed so much of it because I think that one actually leaves a lot of room for homebrew, but it was done intentionally. It was like one of the first mods that you can run from start to finish without any combat whatsoever, technically. Like you
Yeah,
can
I mean,
win the
watch
game
Adventurous.
without
Adventurous, I
any.
don't think fights anybody,
Yeah, so I'm not saying that's my style of gaming. I do
but
love
it
to
is to some
slay.
people.
I do love to
I do
slay.
want to
She
slay
has
many
her
things.
sword over her right shoulder.
I do want to slay. I would like to kill things. Um, but it because it has the option to do it that way, it leaves a lot of room for that. So I think there have been some modules that are better than others. I think they feel like they're solving the problem of how do
Fill
we
in the
get
blanks.
more players to DM? Because, like Keith said in the last episode, if I want to play, I know I'm going to have to DM. That's because there are so many more players than there are DMs. And the way to get more players, to get more people playing, is you need more DMs for that. You got to
Yes.
lower that bar and make it easier to DM. So I think their solution to that was by packing these books so that people could DM with,
Yep,
but us thinking DM can do what we want with it. It's just a tool.
correct.
At this point, it's a
Right.
source book,
I agree, and that's and Gygax would tell you the same thing. Every friggin' book, it's a guide, right?
a
So
source.
in a sense, you pick and choose what you want. But
Wizards of the Coast is not going to show up at your door and tell you you're doing it wrong.
correct,
How
I
dare!
guarantee it. I
guarantee it,
guarantee
guarantee it. But I think because people don't know, and like
He'll
you said,
throw out of
a lot of people,
nowhere.
a lot of DMs are coming into this fresh. know nothing really about the game, or they know this much about the game, and they read the book and they say, well, this is the book and therefore I must play it this way. And that's why I think they're afraid to deviate from the campaign book. Not that they don't
They
have the
don't quite know what to
creativity
do
to do
yet.
so, they may or may not, but that they feel almost obligated to play it this way because it's kind of implied this is the book, so therefore this is what you play.
And if you do these things, it'll get you to the end successfully.
Right.
Is what's implied, right? Is that if you do these things, hopefully you'll make it. Ta-da!
One of the endings of this book that I'm holding,
What book is it?
it's Icewind Dale.
Okay.
One of the endings is a time loop shenanigan Groundhog's Day event that it gives you no other information for if it happens. So
Well,
you
that's
get to
because
make
it's Groundhog
the
Day.
entire campaign. Hold on,
Do it
wait,
again.
no, wait.
So yeah, so
More than that,
a
wait.
little
hold on.
creativity, you just come up with something and you make it a link to the next one.
Well, no, so it's worse than that. It's hold on. It's not worse in the worst kind of way. It's worse in the best kind of way. I have to find it really quick. Because in the end of this, spoilers to anyone who hasn't played Icewind Dale and is maybe in the middle of Icewind Dale, turn your mic off or your headphones
Speaker,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It so here's the thing. You can do it's 3 endings to this. You win, you kill Arwyl, which is the god of eternal winter, right? Mm-hmm. Or you whatever. You pacify her and she leaves. Whatever you plan to do to her, you face her head on. You solve the problem immediately. She is gone. Summer is coming. The Arctic gains its cycle of summer. Number 2, Arwyl wins, and winter is forever lasting. The Arctic is permanently the Arctic. It is never going to be summer ever again. You lose. You suck. I hate you. Number 3. Yeah. Number 3 is you've awakened the ancient Tectic city lost in the glacier. It sets off a timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly, and you go on another adventure. It is literally, if the characters use the Staff of Power to activate the obelisk, which is in the crazy city, they inadvertently reset the world to a time predating the fall of the cyber city locked in the glacier.
They're like trying to give you a, hey, want to keep playing?
Right.
Right. Do you not
Here,
want to keep
a whole campaign.
Yeah. That it's a hook just in case everyone wants to keep going. But yes, you may have to prepare. I don't know. Actually, maybe all of those people from YouTube, maybe they will know if there is a sequel that follows up directly.
Here is, oh my god, my camera. Here is the last page.
Your camera's been dancy.
It is dancy. Here's the last page, right? And so from here to the other page is the entire rest of the second campaign. Second campaign. That's all you get. Enjoy.
So they're like, here's the instruction manual. You've been running this campaign now for some time.
You've been inside the city. You kind of know what's inside the city.
Probably want to keep going.
What history of the city?
What level does the module take you to?
I think 10.
Okay, so there's still a lot of room to play.
Theoretically, there's another 10 levels.
Does this start at
7. 7. 1 to 7.
1 to 7. Okay, so
at 7.
You've DM'd 7 levels to get them there. I think the idea is, if you want to continue with this, you should at this point know what you're doing and the characters. Maybe
gone through all 400 pages of this book.
Do you feel like it doesn't give you enough?
Well, no. So that's what you guys were saying. Like, it's not open-ended enough, right? That these modules lock you in. Here is, I literally had the Deus Ex Machina of this conversation in my lap. In that it is literally a half a page of, here, write your second campaign. Enjoy, have fun.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Right, so
it shoves you into the past, and you have to not butterfly effect yourself.
Something Julie and I have talked about before, and I want to kind of bring it up real quickly here since she alluded to it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No.
I've derailed this conversation.
And then we'll go to how to describe that chest, and we'll wrap it up from there. So
yes.
Since that's where we started 45 minutes ago.
Right.
Okay, so
Trained to it.
and this is not a 1E 5E thing. It's not. When you don't use experience points in 5E to level up, use
I don't.
milestones, right? You
I don't.
accomplish a certain task, you explore to a certain point, and you
I've
level
role
up.
played enough.
Okay, it's not. I'm not getting into my opinion on that. I'm just making sure, right? That's how that works, right? So,
Yes.
if you do use experience points in fifth edition, okay, let me go. Let me. Yeah, okay. To not be opinionated. If you use experience points in fifth edition to level up, and this module here, the campaign, is designed for levels 1 through 7. Okay, that means I can start at level 1 and make my way through the module, and I should have a reasonable chance of success. Okay, I should not come into the module at level 10. It'll be too easy. Okay, it's designed for levels 1 through
That's what
7
happened before.
and X number of characters, right? It probably tells you that too, but levels 1 through 7. So anywhere between level 1 and 7, I should be able to start. Okay,
Oh
so
no. Wait a
no,
minute. That's how you interpret that?
that's how it is in
No,
1E.
not anywhere from 1 to 7. You have to start at
Oh,
1. Otherwise, the
it
beginning of the
starts at
game
one,
is still going to be
and
too
at the end of
easy.
the book you're going to be at 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Takes you
see,
from
and
1 to 6.
here's where that's where my confusion lies then, because in 1E, the which one call it pick a module, it doesn't matter.
Does it
Um,
really? Oh, I don't
uh,
have a module. I just have the player's handbook.
what are we playing?
Keep
Against
on
the
the
cult of the
Borderlands.
reptile
Borderlands.
god. Against the cult of the reptile god.
No,
Keep it in the
Okay,
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
that's mine.
They
Oh,
are
gotcha.
levels
Whatever.
1 through 3. That
As
doesn't
were our
mean
games.
you will start at level 1 and finish at level 3. That means it is.
Anywhere, someone from level 1 could beat this whole campaign, or someone who is level 3 can
levels
beat this
1
whole
through
campaign.
3, a group of adventurers somewhere
Okay.
between levels 1 through 3 will have a reasonable chance of success in progressing through the module. No
Yeah, no, that's
guarantee,
not
because
fine.
there's no guarantee you're going to level up. It all depends what you do, right? And
Okay. I see that.
if you go into the Keep on the Borderlands, it's a hack and slash dungeon crawl kind of module. There's no real set goal other than kill all the evil and reap
Find some shit.
and reap your rewards. So you could dip out at any
Mhm.
point and say, okay, I'm done with this. I'm bored. Let's move on to the next one, and still be first level. Now,
Yeah, that's true.
if you stayed at level 1 because you danced around and didn't do anything, and then went to the big bad evil guys or the tougher guys, then yeah, you're going to die. But it's no
Period.
guarantee you're going to finish at level 3. You can start anywhere in there. Just the same, if you get a module, Curse of Xanathon maybe, levels 5 through 7, if you go in at level 1, 2, 3, you're not going to survive that. You're not.
So that's
But you don't
closer
just
to a
start at level
one-shot.
5, because back in the
That's
day,
closer to a one
your
shot.
character started at level 1 and you worked your way up. You earned your way to level 5. You didn't just, hey, I want to play this module and we start at level 5. Now, nowadays, some people will do that in light of the general trend in 5th edition to do
The
things
one-shot.
like that. But that's not the way they were originally intended or designed for.
In
One
Adventure
shot.
League, they do kind of a middle in between thing where they have tiers. You can play Adventure League 5e in tier 1, 2, or 3, and maybe 4. Uh, Generally, the cons have just levels 1 and 2 at most of them, or tiers 1 and 2, and then occasionally a tier 3. But
Higher
the
level.
idea is a tier 1 game is any character can come in as long as they're levels 1 to 3, I think, and then tier 2 is 4 to 6, and then so you have like a small range,
Hmm.
but the modules are written as one shots that will get you, if you complete the one
Maybe
shot,
a level.
it's you, if you do all of the things in the one shot, you should get enough
One level.
XP that you've gotten one level. So
Yeah.
if you're playing at a con and you do 3 games, you should have a level 3 character if you started from
So
scratch, sort of thing.
and I'll before I go back to my kind of finish up my original question here, the reason why that doesn't work in first
Okay.
edition, if you do a module that's level, 5 to 7, okay, to go from 1 to 3, both these modules that I'm running for you guys, yeah, very possible, very likely you will start at level 1. Very possible, very likely
You'll
you
end
will
at
finish up
3.
at level 2, level 3, okay, because you're experience points based, and your level of advancement from 1 to 2 is this much. 2 to 3 is that
Yeah.
much. But when you go from 5 to 6 to 7, it's this much. So it's
Oh, it
okay.
doesn't scale the same
Yeah,
way. Interesting.
because
No, yeah,
to go from
it's too big.
first level fighter to second level fighter is like 2,000 experience points. Okay,
Oh,
to go from 5 to 6, I'm going off the cuff here. That might be a 30 point difference to go from 5 to 6. So
Yeah.
your level of progression slows, and that's why you're not going to make it from
it's
5 to
close for 5e.
8 to in that time frame. Okay, but coming back to my question though, if you are running experience points based reward system for the progression of the characters in fifth edition, if they don't get enough experience points, they're not going to make it up to level 6 or 7 in order to be a formidable opponent for the big bad evil guy. So then what?
Yeah, they might not. It's gonna be hard.
So,
A DM could always
I'm
throw an
gonna.
NPC in there to help balance the party.
They could.
That helps.
I posted the experience points
That sounds
chart
tougher.
for fifth edition, but also, not only has a lot of people moved to Milestone because of the silly theatrics that you hate, but also because fifth edition players are XP goblins. They
Yeah.
just like loot goblins, they're experience point goblins. And so depending on how the table runs their XP, if you kill the monster, you get the experience points, or is it shared experience points? What's gonna happen is that there are certain types of toxic players who will intentionally kill things before anyone has the chance to talk to it, even if it's an important NPC, because they want the experience points. Or you can cheese a campaign by hanging out in the woods and murdering wolves until you're level 12.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, pretty fun. It's
I
like
get
it's
it.
like a video game.
And that's a whole other topic we're going to talk about at some point,
It is.
toxic players,
That
and that's a great topic to talk about with Erica, since she gets random people. And what if you get a
so
really
many
shitty
players.
player who's not
Oh
playing nice with
yeah.
others? Okay, but as the
Oh boy.
DM in a campaign
Oh
base,
boy.
okay, in a campaign
Random
base,
player management.
I think that's easier to manage because you can just up the ante, and there's not 3 wolves, there's 12. Oh,
Right, but there's
Mhm.
still the same amount of experience points.
oh, no, but yeah, but there's a greater risk for them dying, is what I'm getting at. And they might say, "Holy shit, maybe I shouldn't do
Theoretically,
this. The experience points that I might gain is not worth the risk. Risk
Not worth
versus
it.
reward. If it's a simple wolf, yeah, I can take out a simple wolf with a couple arrows, perhaps. But if I have 30 of them, that's different. A full pack, that's different. What if it's a pack of dire wolves? They're supposed to be much stronger, right? Or whatever
they
you
are.
morph it into be. Or maybe they've been exposed to something and they're that much stronger. I mean, it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but you know,
To
generally
curb
speaking,
the
it's easy
player, it
to
is,
adjust
but
that.
they're usually like that the whole campaign. Even if you curb them once or twice, they're usually just like that the entire time.
There
Which is
needs
why
to be a whole
Milestone
episode
is
on how to break up with a toxic player.
Well, okay. Well, I was going to say
break
we
up.
that when I
Just
asked
go and
Julie
invite
the
them.
other day, I said, when we kind of lost track of time and realized, that today was our day for the three of us. I asked her, so what do you want to talk about? She said toxic players. So kind of ironic that we're talking about this
Oh
now,
yeah,
and we can circle back around to that for another time. But
And
um,
then I was also going to talk about weather and travel.
yeah,
yeah.
let me see,
Ooh.
Player's Handbook.
Yeah, I've
I have
recently
had
rewatched
those
the pointy
things.
hat system. The pointy hat system of travel. I love that video. It's so good.
Oh my goodness gracious! You meant in-game weather and travel.
Oh, LOL.
Yeah.
You were like, hello, I have so many stories about weather and travel. No, I meant, yeah, D&D mechanics. LOL.
Okay. And
You're
it
like,
was
I
the first
travel a
thing I
lot.
thought of. No, that's the thing. I don't. It was the weather. It was the weather that
Oh.
pinged me because
But
I play online a lot, right? And in the winter time, or if it's like tornado season for the people who live in the areas of the planet that get that stuff, I have had people drop their internet connection because of storms and stuff, and be like, "Okay, we're not
LOL.
playing then, I guess." So
IRL
that's
weather.
where my brain went when you said I didn't mean
No.
to think yes. But
Yeah.
in-game weather and travel is so much fun. The book I wrote with the editor is all about downtime. It's my whole thing is about ways to Keith would hate it. Keith would absolutely hate it.
Yeah, to liven up downtime. I like to do
Yeah,
that. I
well,
like
ways to utilize downtime to make it useful to like
social random encounters. I like those. Those are fun.
yeah, there's those in there, but also like how to take agency with your own downtime as a player to make things happen. There's a lot in it.
Okay, so
Um,
hang on. So are you talking about downtime in terms of like getting from,
outside encounters.
well, no, getting from city A to B, like in between campaigns? Are you talking down? Okay, we're downtime. We are not adventuring right now. So I want to craft this magic item. I want to research this spell. I want to start a business. What kind of,
That
what do you mean by downtime?
that one.
Uh,
So
okay,
The second
that
one.
the latter part, not travel, not
Yeah.
overland
okay,
travel, not hex crawling or anything like that. It's mostly you have your long rest. You're at camp. It a
What are you
lot
guys
of
doing on your
players,
long rest?
especially, yeah, they're not aware of the options. Kind of like you said, Keith. Like they only think about what's on their sheet. There is
No
so
agency.
much that you can do
Mhm.
with downtime. It kind of like I wanted to add the non-weapon proficiency of Boya Fletcher because our crazy players have been searching for arrows as if it is the last thing that matters. This game for
Keep
like
track of
a
arrows.
while, and I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna learn how to make arrows, and we'll just do it on the fly. We'll do it on the road. We'll do it. And Keith was like, no, it takes forever to do that. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'll start using my downtime, and I'll start being like, oh, we're gonna have a long rest. I'll spend two
Here's a
hours
squiggly
working
ass
on.
arrow. It doesn't fly
And then
straight.
after a couple of sessions, I've burned it. There we go. You all have arrows. We're done.
and
But a lot of people aren't aware that those opportunities for non DM led
What happens when
progression
there's no trees?
exist, right? Like when the DM goes, what do you want to do? Or you're going to be taking some time here, you're going to be camping. There isn't a list for those sort of things. You know, these,
I saw a
the
worksheet once.
yeah.
I saw a worksheet on Reddit once. Hold on.
So
Good God.
they little tools exist, but I think those sort of things, they are sort of role play they're not exactly encounters,
right.
but they give the
Oh,
player agency to think about their character creatively, think about what they would be doing in those shoes and how they can advance the team, how they can
Yeah.
contribute to
So I,
the
I
party.
I liken that to, or I would kind of qualify that under character development, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not about your background or your backstory. I mean, it can be, but that's something different, okay? Um, but that kind of thing that we're talking about right now is character development, and I agree with you, and I don't have a problem with that. If you as the character, or I guess the player really, or Marisha or someone said, hey, okay, we're in between modules, how much downtime in game time is it going to be? And my question would be, well, it depends upon you guys. Do you just want to camp out here for a couple of days and move on, or do you want to spend a month in between? Okay, a month. Okay, well, what do you guys want to do with a
They
month?
can use that.
And then
They
at that
can use
point we talk about, okay, well, okay, like who's the spellcaster, right? Okay, you want to work on something like that. You want to try to up your ante on a skill or something, which is really not a thing in 1E, but nonetheless. But yeah, so I agree with you, and it's not the kind of thing I'm opposed to. Um, but what I would be reluctant on is like, oh yeah, I want a business. I want to buy a local shop.
That's a lot to
But just because,
manage.
right? Because at that point, that's a lot, right?
That's a
And
lot to
that's not going to
manage.
progress the game or your character or
That's
anything.
not the
Now,
same thing though as selling loot. I think selling loot is really cool. You know, making money that way,
so
selling on
right,
street. But
and that
part of
comes
it.
down to not necessarily style of play. Well, I guess it is exactly style of play as to what that group likes to do. If they are heavy on the social aspect of role play, then yeah, a shopping session can be, or shopping can be half a session or a whole session, and the group loves it, right? You want to barter and you want to sell your goods, all the power to that group. But that's not for everyone, right? So
Mhm,
like as we said earlier, or maybe an hour ago, that's not for Marisha. That's not quite her thing, right? You
mhm.
and Cassie, certainly you and Cassie, a little bit of Rin would be okay with that. I don't think that we could get hours out of it, but we could get
No,
a little bit of time out of it, and we have. So the
definitely.
whole downtime concept. I mean, I'm not like flat out opposed to it. I just don't always see. I just don't see players doing it. I agree with you.
Well, that's
Okay, yeah,
I don't think they have the knowledge or the experience of knowing what to do with the downtime when it's given to them in order for it to be effective to their player, like to their
to the
player
character.
characters. So I didn't want to keep looking for bows and arrows, or arrows rather. So I had that room for that proficiency, and I'm like, I can spend 2 hours, and it doesn't take a lot of RP. My character can just be
Right.
like, I put in some time before sleep
Yep.
working on arrow. That's all I gotta say, And if I do that every time we long rest, we will never need
You,
arrows.
you'll you'll
So
at
it's
least,
just
you'll
a
at least get
little
2 or 3
thing,
arrows a day, or whatever it comes out to. I don't remember, but yeah,
right? But it's a little thing that that my
correct.
character can do that is a line in the book that I had to search for. You have to. I think that's the part that knowing it exists, knowing it's an option, knowing it's something you can do to
Well,
help move the story along
And
is
I
beneficial.
and I
It
think
doesn't
that
have to
you're
go
right.
time.
And from my perspective, that comes down to two things. That comes down to the experience of the player, and
Yeah.
experience equates to I'm familiar with this, right? That's experience. I've done this before. I have
Hmm.
some wisdom on this matter. And that if you haven't experienced it yet, how do you experience it? How do we learn anything? We watch someone else do it, or they teach us,
Right.
or we crack open a book or something and we read and we teach ourselves, right? So, unfortunately, I don't think any of the ladies on Tuesday Sunday night are breaking open the book and thumbing through the player's handbook to read through and like learn the game more. I don't think that's happening. Okay,
I
I
don't know
don't.
if they have it. I
It's
don't know if they
it,
have the book.
it's on the OneDrive.
I, oh, okay. I
It's on the
found it.
OneDrive, yeah. And I don't fault them for that. If it's not of interest to them, it's not of interest to them. But you're not going to learn more and learn about these things we're talking about now if you don't crack open the book. Because I, as the DM, I don't push that because
Right.
I'm ready to play the next module. If they want to do that, I'm fine. Like I'm fine with that, and we will. But I don't promote it. Just like I don't encourage people to make friggin' backstories. It's the same thing.
I
Okay,
don't think there's room for backstory in a lot of
in
one
a one
shots.
shot.
Oh my gosh, no.
all right.
Oh.
So getting back to experience points. Okay, if you need 18,001 to be a fifth level fighter in first edition. Okay, to make it to make
18,001.
it to make it to sixth level, you need 35,001.
Oh,
So it's a big jump, right?
that's a big
To
deal.
go from first to second level is only 2,000 though. So you need an additional
Oh,
17,000 to make that jump. So that's not going to happen probably in
well,
that one
it
module.
doesn't. But I do picture that as people level, right, that the opponents that they're going up against, the encounters that they're
I
experiencing
found
are
it.
probably worth a few more experience points than just killing some kobolds, right? So,
Oh, 100% agreed. And that's why I say, in a sense, you're always level one. Because as
you
you get
are
bigger and
against,
stronger, so do the big bad evil guys. But most of your experience points in first edition come from the treasure, not from what you kill. You just need to kill the guy to get the treasure, and that really accelerates the leveling up.
Found it.
that is something I
Sorry.
just learned. I didn't realize how much the loot gives you experience in
Oh,
1E.
in
Holy
1E at
smokes.
least.
All right,
Yeah.
Yes.
all right,
Being a
Erica,
treasure
let's
goblin
talk
to a
about
whole
that
new level.
chest.
What'd you find, Julie, before he gets into the
Yeah, yeah.
chest?
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys were talking about those downtime things. I'm on the
Yes.
Curse of Strahd community, and someone posted one. And not only does it go over travel and weather mechanics, but it also says like stuff you can do while at rest.
Excellent. They
Yeah.
are spread all over the place, which is
What you
why
can
so
do
much
on the move, what you can do at rest. It has weather conditions, party pace, and exhaustion levels.
the reason I wrote the book was because that information is scattered over, like I used 20 something sources to
Wow.
pull all of the
Lot.
at rest. I didn't create much. I
No.
pulled what was already out there. I just
And
put it into one
organized
place.
and, yeah,
Yeah.
referenced.
So
Sorry.
Okay,
the chest.
the chests. Early
The
on,
chest.
about 40, we're over an hour now. About 45 minutes ago, Erica
Oh, wow.
asked about embellishing your
describe a
descriptions,
thing
right?
without-
Adding flavor,
Yeah.
theater of the mind. How do you describe that chest? Especially if you want to draw attention to that chest. Well, I will tell you, and you both know this, sometimes I'm very vague and nondescript on something important, and sometimes I provide detail on things that are not important. And the reason why I do that as the DM is to foster that exploration of or by the players for their characters. Because if I only describe in detail what's important, then you're going to know every time and you're going to dismiss anything and everything until I describe that one item in detail that's important, right? So
Right.
I feel like I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm holding your hand too much, and that's too much of a railroad kind of thing on a micro level. So I will kind of distract and give a longer description, detailed description of this completely irrelevant NPC over here, or this completely irrelevant chest, and brush over the one over here. So that's one of the reasons why I do that, but also because I don't spoon feed everything. The players need to ask
A couple
questions.
red herrings.
They need to ask questions, right? Describe what they kind of see as the cursory glance into the room, and then it's up to them to say, I want to go here, I want to do this. Tell me more about this chest. What does it look like? What is it made of, right? I'm not going to tell you everything all at once because you're going to spend too much time in 1,000 words to paint that picture. So I'm going to give you 30 words, and then you can ask from there, and I'll give you 100 more, and I'll give you 50 more, So that's kind of why I do that. It doesn't answer your question, though, of how do you do that. So that's just kind of my approach in general to do that. So
and teach your players different tools to like begin growing their little toolbox of what can I do in a room, or what can I do on my turn, or what can I do during this time.
So Erika,
what if it's important?
Yeah, and you know what? And if it's important and they miss it, then they missed it. Just like if getting through that secret door opens up the entire second half of the campaign, and they rolled and no one can find it. Well, I guess you guys are shit out of luck, man. You can't find it. You got to go find someone else who can help you find it, or we're going to move on to the next thing.
There isn't a talking rat that comes in and is like, squeak, squeak, there's a door over here.
Squeak, squeaker, squeaking. I would just overly describe it. I've been doing it to my players where they keep walking through. They're in a tavern right now, and there's important shit in the tavern, and they haven't explored the tavern at all.
And
so I keep being like, yeah, and this person's here, and the same guy. You remember the same guy?
Oh my
God. The same guy is here.
So
the same guy is here.
Remember earlier this hour or the previous hour, I said I sat in on Julie's 5e Curse of Strahd one night because we weren't playing our regular game, okay? And as is kind of par for the course, it was an all social roleplay night, which is fine. I like to roll some dice, but that's okay. That's not my point. The point is they were at a friggin' tavern again, okay? And Julie describes these 3 gypsy ladies over here, okay? And everyone else says, yeah, okay, let's go. I'm like, whoa, hang on. Why are these 3 ladies standing out, right? She didn't describe them in great depth with great detail, but she said there's these 3 gypsy ladies over here talking to themselves.
Oh my God.
And you got, this guy over here and that guy over there. So her description was not outstanding, but the fact that those 3 NPCs were not like one of these things is not like the other, were not like the others, it caught my attention as the player. So I'm going to go talk to these ladies as the character, right? And everyone else is like, okay, yeah, we're going to leave. Like
the ladies made fun of him.
So that's not the point.
Oh.
That's not the point. The point is the players dismissed that, right? They chose. Now, I don't know if they dismissed it because they didn't realize that one of these things is not like the other, because it didn't have enough descriptors from Julia on them, which I don't think is the case. I just think they said, we're not interested, and moved on. But as it turned out, those ladies had an important role. They had some important information that was very helpful to the party that they would have not have gotten had I played my game. So I get what you're saying, Erika. Like, how do you draw the player's attention to something that is important
without distracting,
without spoon feeding it to them, right? You can only guide them. You can only illuminate so much light. They still need to open their eyes. Okay. And I think that unto itself is a balancing act, But I think in general, to draw attention to something is you provide more description to that particular item. So in the case of your chest, okay. So in the room there are 3 chests. 2 are of ordinary wood construction, very similar to what you've seen everywhere else, right? But the third one is a little bit different from the others. Hell, that right there should catch your attention. This one's different than the others. Right. One of these is not like the other, right? Okay. Even if you don't say it's different than the other, you just describe it. How these over here seem to be of, like all the others, it's of ordinary construction. It's oak, just like all the others. But the third one has brass bands on it and has a very ornate padlock. Something to kind of draw their attention to it a little bit without, going too far. And then it's up to them to ask further questions. Or don't even say the padlock. It has the brass band on it. Or it's steel reinforced, something to that effect, right?
And then they go investigate it, and then you give them
yeah,
more.
and
They
then they
already
go
know
and then they
something
say, okay,
not like the others.
so as you walk closer to, you see that this one has a padlock on it, an actual padlock, where the others have a recessed locking mechanism or don't appear to have anything, or you could even omit that because you guys have investigation rolls or something,
We do
perception rolls or something like that, right?
So you can do perception and investigation.
So with all those rolls at your disposal,
Wisdom or
I
intelligence.
wouldn't give them very much other than, hey, make me a perception roll. And they rolled great. Okay, well, you see that this one has a locking mechanism, that one doesn't, and so on. But, as a 1E guy, I don't like those rolls so much. I want you to ask me as the player. I want you to ask me, what do I see? What does it look like?
Okay. Yep, get that information from roleplay. Cool.
So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if that really answers your question, if that helps, but
I like skill
It
checks.
does.
I
No,
like
you
skill
answered
checks
it
a lot.
in like 3 different ways. No, those were
Yeah.
great ideas.
because
I mean, I would just overly describe it. Either I would overly describe it, or I would mention it more than once.
yeah, you mentioned more
Yeah,
than
you
once.
guys looked at those 2 chests, but what about that 3rd chest? You guys gonna go look at that 3rd chest?
Yeah.
How
So
about that
chest is
3rd
really
chest,
exciting.
guys?
I mean, I've done that.
Third
I've done that
chest?
on occasion. That's not my preferred style because I feel like I'm nudging them too much. That like, oh, what? Oh, don't forget about that
That's the
one.
most
What about that
obvious.
one?
Yeah.
I feel like
Hey,
I'm
you guys talked
nudging
to
them
that
too
person
much.
yet?
But just the
I'll just
same,
throw them in.
as in my style, I've been known to.
Herring.
A red herring for you. Say, oh
Intentionally
yeah, what
herring.
about that one over there? You sure you don't want to check out that one? Even though the party had already said, yeah, we're not going to leave that one alone because something's not right about it. Are you sure you don't want to check out that one?
And that's how you end up covered in black slime.
That's how you end up being attacked by a mimic.
Yeah, that is how those things happen.
So, but a mimic can be anything. Traditionally, it's a chest.
When you bite your sandwich and your sandwich bites back, that's a mimic.
It is a mimic.
That's a moray. That's a mimic.
I
put
love
mimics in
that.
all of my games.
All of them?
I had a porter potty be a mimic once.
I had a toilet mimic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I
a
ran
debut
the there's a Misfits. The Misfit Maggot 5 is one of my favorite one-shots because you get to play as monsters. You get to play as like a bugbear that's really short and a hobgoblin that's really like a know-it-all, and you get to play as these misfits, these monsters that aren't quite up to snuff. A really dumb orc, and so on and so forth. And you get put through a dungeon crawl of doing a bunch of silly bullshit. And like there's the porta potty mimic, there's a toilet mimic, and
I don't always find my mimics. So I don't always have to do a mimic encounter, but there's always a mimic.
I've done a door. I've done a mimic door before, which is pretty standard. Yeah.
The game that I did before the Halloween game was one of those. My players were the monsters. Just I might be dating myself. The cartoon Real Monsters from Nickelodeon.
Yes, I was young.
Yeah, it's a bunch of monsters that go to monster school because they're terrible at it. And well, they're kids, right? They're kid monsters. So they're learning how to monster, learning how to be scary. So I ran a game where they were at monster school and they were the monsters and they had to go out to taverns and scare all of the people in the taverns and get their scare points to bring back to the school.
That's pretty neat. All right, ladies, we are at an hour and a quarter on this video session, so we're going to wrap it up. We can continue chatting, but at least for the video perspective, we're going to wrap it up here with part B, or number B, part 2 of our chat here with Miss Erika Martin, and we will perhaps have her back again, as she has kept us entertained and kept our conversation going and very open-ended. Next time, though, we will have a more defined topic here for Erika next time she joins us. Perhaps we'll talk about toxic players, or what makes for a good player, or what makes for a bad player, or something, since we are viewing things from the DM side of the screen. But we're going to wrap it up here. You all have a good night, have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.